Hey everyone, so I'm here to talk to you today about Batwoman Season 3, Episode 2. So this episode started off, very reminiscent to Jaws. These two people jump into the swimming pool, went to a place that they really weren't supposed to be, and then one person jumps in, the other person jumps in, they come up, guy's not there. Then all of a sudden, literally, it was like out of Jaws. He was like, ah! Being pulled back and forth by what we learned throughout the episode is what they're calling killercroc 2.0. Now, something that I have been finding interesting between this episode, the episode before, and I guess maybe I missed it in maybe season 1, but the whole 20 years, like they kept saying Batman defeated so-and-so 20 years ago. They said that about the Mad Hatter. They're saying it here about Killer Croc. But 20 years, like they're just like, oh yeah, he beat him 20 years ago. I guess I didn't realize he had been missing so long, or maybe he just did that feat 20 years ago and that now, no one knows where Batman is. But it's just interesting, and I'm curious, as we move forward, like what other villains or 2.0s of his rogues gallery that we're gonna get. Because that was one of my concerns when, I heard and saw at the end of season 2, like season 3 would be exploring a lot more of Batman's rogues gallery, but I didn't want her, Batwoman, to go against Batman's particular people. I'm glad they're kind of 2.0ing it and making it say, well, it's not really the real one. It's someone who got afflicted, someone who found the item, and they're acting as that person. I think that brings in a really great dynamic with it. Continuing on this episode, I've really enjoyed this show. I think it adds some different things. We jump right to Ryan meeting her mom, her birth mother, which I didn't think would happen. I thought she was going to be like an overarching character throughout the show, someone that, isn't rightly corrected, but we went right there, popped into the Wayne Manor to meet Ryan, who is the CEO or acting CEO of Wayne Enterprises right now. Met her, talked to her, wondering why there's someone from the company who's pulling up files, so they had a little interaction there, which I thought was interesting. Alice in this episode is now officially and formally a part of the Team Bat in the Batcave due to Montoya, assigning her to stay with Batwoman or else she will lock Batwoman up as well, due to knowing their secret identity. So seeing them paired up is pretty funny. When Batwoman, Mary, and Luke were all in the cave, like talking about the case, all of a sudden here, excuse me, it's Alice in the back, and she's just like, why is there a tree in here? Out of all the things she could have talked about, she picked the tree, but that's very typical Alice from what we saw. So through watching, I was very interested to see how that would work. I think they brought up some great facts about, Killer Croc from 20 years ago, how it was just a regular guy who had a skin condition, and then it started to devolve his mind, because I think throughout the different forms of media, whether you look at like Batman the animated series or even some of the comic books and even the Arkham video game series, they started to make Killer Croc huge, like an Abomination or a Hulk, or even kind of like a Leatherhead from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They really kind of made him big, but it's literally just a guy with a skin condition. But I prefer how this Killer Croc looked than the one that we saw in Suicide Squad, the I'm big and beautiful. I preferred the way it was portrayed here. Not too much talking, just really focused on the hunger that it had, which is pretty cool. Flash forward into the episode, Mary and Luke. I'm not normally about shipping, but I see it. And I like what I'm seeing. Do it. But, they got really close a little bit. Hopefully nothing truly happens with them yet, because I still think they need to figure themselves out before we enter any kind of like inter-team romance thing. That's something I would appreciate, is like we haven't really seen that in the inter-team. Sophie and Ryan have a really nice moment where Ryan isn't sure she wants to go and confront and talk to her mom, but Sophie kind of really talks to her about, you know, how to stay strong and be strong in that moment, which I think is nice. Like, that's some of the camaraderie and sisterhood that I haven't seen in this show prior to Ryan Wilder, so I really like some of those dynamics that are being brought in and incorporated into the show. Some people did get kidnapped by killercroc 2.0. What I found pretty interesting is, like, you know, Alice was talking about how she was that girl and she didn't want to give up on that girl like everyone else gave up on her. But then when the moment came to help that girl, she left her there and was like, you know, here's a good piece of advice for you. Don't trust anybody, and only you could help yourself. And I was just like, dang, that's what we're doing. Whew. But all in all, I really enjoyed this episode. I'm looking to see what happens next. So again, you could catch Batwoman on the CW app. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.